Good morning, everyone. Good morning to those of you online. Thanks everyone for coming together today. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess call the meeting to order officially at 9:30. Look at us start on time. The agenda is shared online. It was also emailed out. Thank you, Megan, for keeping us honest with our our agenda packets. We wanted to go ahead and just jump into the meeting for welcome and introductions. If you're online, if you could just put your name and organization in the chat so we have record of you being here. For those of us in the room, I will go first and then I will go to my left. We'll go around, so it gives you a little bit of time to remember your name. No, I'm teasing. We're just doing name and agency and kind of what brought you here, because there are a few new faces in person, so I'm excited. Thanks for coming. Again, my name is Dominique Randall. I work for Pinellas County Human Services. And I'll pass it down.
Hi, I'm Clara from Catholic Charities.
And I'm Thomas Toy with the 6th Judicial Circuit. I'm also Director of Restoring Hope Ministries, but I'm here as a guest. Neither one of those hats, just my own individual hat here today.
I'm Chuck Deach. I'm the COO of Ready for Life.
Give it over to Aaron.
I'm sorry.
You have not given people enough time to remember.
I was just like, Ariel Woodard, spacing out this morning, City of Largo Housing Division, and usually part of the Mid-County Deployment Center.
Sherry Holtzbacher, Homeless Leadership Alliance.
Blossom Capper, Department of Veterans Affairs.
Tony Salgado, Data Analyst, HLA.
Megan Rock.
And in the back,
And I'm Alton Barr. I'm here with First Contact.
Alton, you don't have to sit in the back either. Feel free to come up. So again, thanks everyone. Again, if you're online, please put your information in the chat. Much appreciated. And we will go ahead and get this party started. So agenda, first thing that we have, hand it over. Actually, forever.
We have 2 meetings that the minutes still need to be approved. We need to go over the consent agenda for last meeting for August, as well as for February, which was for last. So if anybody wants to do February first, if I'm remembering correctly, I can't read you.
Well, because it's a consent agenda, we can actually do it all together.
We can.
Yep. Right?
I'll make a motion.
Correct. Okay. I heard Arrow made a motion. Anyone want a second? Online, you can also second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Sherry seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and pass unanimously. Thanks, everyone.
And was anyone able to look over last meeting's minutes yet? They're also attached in the booklet here.
We can't approve that. Those weren't part of the consent agenda just now. I think we already, those were approved. All 3 of the minutes.
We're all, it was like a blanket consent, yeah. No.
Okay.
And Clara did point out that we did approve the January minutes in February. I missed that, I'm sorry, but better to have them all, right?
All right, so I wanted to spend a little bit of time on the Champion Awards. So in our February meeting of last year, I don't know, is Dama online?
I am.
Oh, yay, thanks, Dama. So Dama very passionately was one of the ones I think who was most passionate about some of these awards, and so that's why I wanted to make sure you were online. We were able to come up in our February meeting with some award ideas, kind of on a go forward of those who kind of did key items and key tasks throughout the recent season. So we were able to acknowledge those individuals at our last and agencies at the last what was that? What's that meeting?
Membership meeting?
The membership meeting, the COC membership meeting. Thank you. So we were able to acknowledge Kevin Marone as kind of the champion for his work as executive leadership, but also deploying, activating, and supporting with multiple members of his team and staff. We acknowledge the city of St. Pete, which Helen Rhimes accepted on behalf of the city for recruiting the most volunteers. So again, I was a little bitter because I was a couple under her, but it's okay. We're gonna have more this year. Things say something to compete with you guys. VA, we were tied for second. We were tied for second, the county and VA, but City of St. Pete squeaked it out. And it's for those that were actually deployed, so not just signed up, trained, but actually deployed and activated. We also acknowledge Victoria Kelly for all of her work, really for point in time in general, but with the training in specifically. And then our last award was survey. So that was who did the most surveys, which was Kathy Ham, who had over 50 surveys completed, which is pretty incredible considering that a little over 700 were completed. So she really did a bulk, and she was out there probably 12 hours of the day completing surveys throughout Clearwater area. So kudos to her. We're gonna probably continue to do something of that sort, maybe not the exact same on a go forward. So things to think about, who's kind of the fearless leader, training or most surveys, and then recruitment. We're gonna keep that one going because that's already been a competition for the past couple of years. So that's it for the champion, the awards. Thank you. And then we will move on to the charter. So did anyone have opportunity to read through the charter and some changes, some recommended language and changes? We wanted to kind of formalize the charter, hello, before we move forward with any other decisions.
Hey, Dominique, this is Dava. I did not get to read them. Is there any way we could do a quick highlight of what the changes are?
Absolutely. And so I will actually defer, is HLA able to speak to changes or just kind of, we can speak through the highlights of what kind of is in there. So really, this, I don't think honestly, the charter was ever really formalized in the way that some of the other committees have been. So there was some discussion on whether to make this an ad hoc, a task force, or continue on as a committee. So that was one of the probably the biggest discussion points is, do we continue this as a committee but a seasonal committee where it would still have off months, essentially running from August to February. So that's kind of the overview, kind of what the responsibilities are. There's nothing major with the objectives and responsibilities. We come down to membership. That was a large part of that I wanted us to kind of chew on, because in the past, again, it was like anyone who came to the meeting was a member. But honestly, sometimes we could have 50 people in this meeting. So then how do you establish quorum? Different things like that. So the idea here for the membership that this is probably where I want to spend the most time when we come back to it, is kind of how do we decide the actual committee and then its participants. I don't want to limit us by, oh, it's these 10 people. I want people to be able to participate in subcommittees. I want people to be able to contribute to the meeting, but ultimately, as far as quorum purposes and voting, having that established as kind of requested as a formal committee. So some things, this is kind of mirroring some other committees and totally up for discussion. Things like everyone has to be a COC member. That's really not up for discussion, unfortunately. I'd say fortunately, whether that be through your agency or individual, and then some different types of representation from various agencies. So again, kind of mirroring some of the other committees and boards is, outreach teams, special populations, various municipalities, law enforcement, school board, faith-based, or I put in grassroots organizations to expand that a little bit. And so we're going to come back up to that. So kind of who the participants, the committee would be made up of. And then also kind of, we went through the officers. Go to the next page. Those are staying the same. We just left the chair, vice chair, secretary. And then how to become a voting member. So this goes into, you know, we said above, these are maybe some ideas for the seats, but this is how you would be a voting member. So having attend a meeting, being a membership member or through your agency or self. And then either being one of those 3 officer positions or being a lead of the subcommittee. That's kind of what I think that's where we were going with maybe establishing the actual committee. And then, you know, having an interest form completed, which again, that's kind of what assigns you to a subcommittee. And then it would still have a 51% quorum. So for those positions established, you would have the requirement to be part of that. And then alternates are allowable and determined as alternates. So that's it. The bulk, really the biggest discussion point is how do we establish members and who should those members be for quorum purposes? Yeah. Thoughts?
So on the second bullet there, it lists a whole bunch of different boards and stuff. Are we thinking that there's like one position, like at minimum is from all of those? Like, or is it one from each of those?
Is that for membership, on page 19?
Yes.
I would note there's a key term there and it's strive.
Right.
We gonna try.
I like that. Okay.
I really like that list.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I just said I really like that list.
Thank you. I'll say, like, one thing that I changed, I thought it made more sense, is I said representative from a local law enforcement agency where it specifically had listed one, you know, agency before. So again, I don't wanna like, you know, pigeonhole us or whatever it's called, like, I don't want us to think too small and not be able to fill the seat, even though it does say strive. So, same thing with the faith-based, I added grassroots because it's really, I'm looking at those small kind of people that are serving and really have intentional reach with those who are unhoused, not necessarily just a faith-based organization. So is that kind of inclusive of your agency if you're considering still participating? Because again, people can serve more than one of these too. Or, you know, be committed to more than one of these.
I like the list, how would we work quorum? Oh,
Yep.
That's,
So that's on the next section. If you go down to become a voting member. So the recommendation is to have the 3 officers, so the chair, vice chair, secretary, and then all the subcommittee leads. That would become the committee members.
that makes sense. But just 51% of vote.
And then 51% of those, so is there 5 or 6 subcommittees? I think there's 6 subcommittees. So that would be 9 people. Which means 5 of us would have to be, 5 of those 9 would have to be present for a quorum to be made. The rest would essentially be audience, but participants, I don't know if there's a clear definition on that in participation. We didn't really get into that, but.
They would just be.
Oh, Kathleen, I see your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I had a question about who is the COC board member that serves on this committee? And I like all the members suggested, you know, the different slots. And do we have an idea of who currently fills those slots of, you know, what the membership is made up of?
Well, they're really, members have been defined so loosely that it was really anybody who participated. So I'll
Okay.
use. Like, I'll use yourself, like you participated last month and this month. So in theory, you are now, if you wanted to continue on, you could be that representative. But also someone like could be an alternate for Kevin and just be an ongoing alternate.
Okay.
Yes, but that was one thing, and then I think there was also language that there would be representative from providers, funders, and COC, and I thought that would be too challenging to have
Mhm.
represent all three. But again, with alternates and things like that, I think we kind of have those kind of main agencies covered in municipalities.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Do we need to like assign, I know we've done that with some of the other committees I'm on, where their people are like assigned, so I'll throw out Largo, so like if you are involved as a seat, then you are one of the municipalities, but you are also representative of outreach, and you could be, same thing with St. Pete. So I think a lot of us can fill most of these without really much of a second thought, to be honest.
I think one area you might want to consider trying to add to your list as a representative from PSTA. I mean, I know Ross always is involved in the actual count. I don't know if he would be interested in being a part of the committee.
That's a great idea, you know, especially with shuttling people to and from shelters. Yeah.
I'm curious for folks that may not serve in those chair roles, if they feel like they would have less of a voice, like coming to these meetings. I wouldn't want to deter people from coming if they feel like they don't have a vote. I think that's the one concern I have with formalizing that like that. It's been more of a planning committee, I guess. And so once we go to that rank and file, I don't know if others feel that way. It's like, maybe it would encourage them to be committee chairs and stuff, but I don't want to have this end up being 10 people at these meetings.
No, I agree.
I think that's my fear.
I agree. My other thought was, does that open up subcommittee participation? So people are able to commit more to those deliverables, like deployment and training and things like that, because there's another layer of meetings.
Like have them go just to subcommittee meetings and just have like the core voting members at these meetings.
Can you be a subcommittee member without being a member of the main committee?
A member of the subcommittee? I'm sure. But as far as, I think in the past, it's been difficult, filling subcommittee chairs.
Yeah.
And the other thing to consider here too, Megan, you know the governance charter better than anybody, I think. I do believe that. But as far as this is considered an official committee of the COC. And so, not an ad hoc and so, in that case, the governance charter does state that you have to have quorum, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's basically, we've been in non-compliance,
Yeah.
so
That's
actually,
right.
how do we write?
That's
some
why I
stuff?
brought up subcommittee, because at least for
That's
the
true,
growth
that makes
meeting,
sense.
if you aren't on the committee, you can't be a part of the subcommittee or be a subcommittee chair. So I was curious. I don't know if the governances are different or. I'm not sure.
I'll say, I don't think that was considered.
It's not covered in the governance charter as far as subcommittee.
Then we do what we want.
Yeah, subcommittees are,
They're
This is gonna
work
be-
groups.
can do whatever.
Okay.
I know Arrow said possibly only voting members come to this meeting and then anyone can go to subcommittee, but I think like a lot of ground and big picture is covered here, so to just come to subcommittee, you miss, especially if it was like a new member. I mean, for those of us that have been doing this for years, we could probably do one or the other and be caught up to speed, but if you're like new, if your agency's sending you as new, I think both meetings are nice. The piece that says, to be a voting, you have to be a chair. Could it just be a member of a subcommittee? Does it need to be, a chair or lead of subcommittee?
I would say. This is exactly why we brought this up, right? It's because I don't want to limit it to just, because then they end up carrying a lot more of the weight. And we we'll start lacking innovation and things like that too. We'll fall into a rut, in my opinion. I like that idea of changing the language for that one. Excuse me. And then, or like, I was also gonna say like additional key or basically, if people are choosing to be part of this committee, there's that commitment that you will come because it is gonna become part of quorum. It can be larger than the identified seats and the identified.
Because people can still come without being voting members, yes.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, and
Yeah,
provide
that's-
input.
And still have, yeah, that's what I was gonna say, I think that was to Arrow's point that, you know, not losing them or deterring them from coming, but they can't necessarily be a voting member if we do it this way. Cause this also helps us continue to have a quorum and be able to actually have votes, because getting 5 people to show up out of 9 versus 15 out of 20 type of a thing is a much easier pill to swallow. But then it also still leaves opportunity for us to come, sit, give our opinions, and then, you know, the voting members can listen to that and then make that decision. I think it's not really different than most of the jobs that we all do, and, you know, not necessarily getting a say in all the things, but, you know, coming to those meetings and giving our opinion.
Yeah, it's not like creating an audience. It is everyone still at the table and still having that conversation. That isn't, you know. It's not that level of detail in here. It still wants community participation. So I hear the recommendation and I like it of, changing the, what does it say again? Membership on 3, yeah, or serve on a. I think leads should be and on a can be. Does that make sense? So. The leads would and then members could, or participants could. And then, let's go back up to the top actually, and let's go in order and then kind of give recommendations, and we kind of package it up. Any recommendations or feedback on the overview of kind of what the committee is intended to do? I think the bulk of it honestly is on membership, so we'll move down to the middle of the second page. We have membership, and so again, we talked about representation from each of these. PSTA was a recommendation. Any other recommendations for participant types? And I like the strive, emphasis on the strive.
A weird question. There's such limits on people with like sex offender background for where they can go to shelters. Have we ever had anyone on the committee? I mean, I know we have PERC involved usually, but just thinking about outreach. I don't know if that's law enforcement or what, but for areas where people with that background need to, or if there's any groups that specifically work with that population.
Well, we did have public defenders on in the past, and I know, is it Thomas? Put you
Yes,
on the
yes.
spot.
Yeah, no, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay.
You are with Circuit 6, but tell me more.
I'm with the Juvenile Diversion Division,
Okay,
and so I know David Moran, isn't he part of the?
he typically attends virtually, maybe.
Okay.
Do we want to include a public defender's office?
Yeah, or justice in general, we could kind of say justice
That's-
population, because that could be inclusive of PERC or your other,
State attorney.
State of- yeah. So the 2 recommendations are PSTA and sort of justice involvement. Anything else on membership? On, well, I should say on participant categories? All right, officers, there's no change there, but the chair, vice chair, secretary. which we do have chair and secretary, all of our vice chairs online. And then, voting member, the only feedback, we already said that was that you could also be a participant in subcommittee. And then I will say again, if you are a member, then you are then responsible for a quorum, 51%.
Quorum can be identified both virtually and in person.
Yes, correct. Yeah, this meeting will remain hybrid.
Just wanna make-
Quorum,
Sure enough.
yeah, quorum part, adds for both, yeah.
Okay.
Counts for both. Yes, that is different by committee.
Yeah, I know, that's why I wanted to make sure.
So no other feedback on that. Decision making and attendance, we already said that 51%, which is that's in the governance, so. Not much discussion there, but inclusive of, it does say in there, inclusive of hybrid. Yep,
Meetings.
yeah, maybe electronic.
Yeah.
hybrid.
Mhm.
And then it can also be done via email, so, if we need to make any decision. And then it does allow for the alternate. This isn't gonna be like an application or anything, that is just your established alternate. So once we can establish that. Okay. So, I can't make a motion, but, Megan, I know is gonna take diligent notes. Could you summarize the recommended changes and if anyone has any agreement or changes?
We're going to change the language. Get back up there. We're going to change the language on becoming voting members on number 3, to include, or can serve on, so it will be, being elected to an office or position, serve as the lead or serve on a subcommittee. And then we were going to also include a representative from PSTA under the strive for membership composition, as well as someone from a justice agency or public defender's office. And that's really what I've got. Helen makes a motion to accept the changes.
Thank
as
you,
discussed.
Helen. So Helen made a motion. Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
All right, Era seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So, we did not talk through this beforehand. Do we need to establish that now, or is that homework between meetings? To establish, maybe we could get, since we have so many people available, we're about to go into our subcommittee leads, so now you know this. The commitment is that if you become a subcommittee lead, you are on the committee, and then anyone else who wants to participate as a committee member, we can create that, I think, a full list and alternates between this month and the next month. But if you're interested online, please put your name if you're interested in becoming a member, and that could include just general or subcommittee, and then also those in the room that are interested in becoming a general or subcommittee member, if you would also raise your hand. So
we now have to fill out applications for these roles.
we're not doing that, right? Not doing applications, are we?
No, that is also in charter that it was suggested, but that can be deleted as well.
Well, should we make a motion on that now, because I feel like otherwise, we don't even have time for that.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to. Do we want to accept nominations at a formal committee meeting and vote in members for the executive committee's positions and subcommittee chair for leads?
Okay.
Did I say that right? So make a motion to strike number 4, the requirement for an application, and instead accept nominations at a committee meeting, and voting members.
There's a second. Anyone want to second that? I'll second. All right, in a second. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the housekeeping, you guys. For putting it up. All right. Before we get to the fun stuff. So I will remain chair. That was voted on last month. Happy to do that. Anyone else in the room wanting to become a member? Nobody wants to be a member in here? You're all here. All
I
right.
put it in chat that I was interested, Dominique.
Yeah, you're already my subcommittee lead, whether you know it or not. I know you know. Okay.
Okay.
I have a question for that, I guess, since Clara is, we're the same agency and she's what are you? She's a secretary. Whatever that's called. What does that look like for anyone else from our agency, IEB? And what my availability is allowed to be? Does that make sense? Words are hard for me
there
this
could
Tuesday
be-
morning, apparently.
Well, you can be hybrid, but if you wanted to become a member, you can have more than one member from an agency,
Okay,
as it is currently written.
I don't want to run the volunteer subcommittee, but I do want to be engaged with it. Not volunteer, training. But is that now I asked to do that, or member, or I just then go to those meetings? I'm a little confused on how this works, if I'm being honest.
You're fine. So right now, I'm just asking if people are wanting to become like a quorum member of the point in time committee. So that's separate from our participation for,
But it can be, now that we just rewrote the language, it can be either the subcommittee chair, if
Or
they so
participants.
do it, or participants from there. Got it.
Be a member, Dominique.
Then go, yeah, I was like, then go ahead and put me,
for good.
sign me up. I'm here, always, anyway.
Okay.
And we do have some people
Some
online.
Okay, and we'll come back. I mean, some of you guys might be, designated as subcommittee leads, and then you're a member too. So.
Chair back
You're
then,
Sure, back.
then still be a member, Helen Rhymes would like to be on deployment. And Perez, may not be able to commit as much, for a full commitment, but is interested in that.
Thank you, everybody.
I'll be on the committee too. I usually help on the deployment one.
So let's go back, let's move on to the next thing, item, which is subcommittee leadership. And then we can go back to, members, we'll establish our members hopefully by the end, by next meeting anyways. Okay. So we did an overview of kind of all the subcommittees at last month's meeting. There was also a survey sent out for participation of interest in the subcommittees. I will say it was not an overwhelming response. But what I'm hoping to do today is establish the chairs for these subcommittees, the seats for these subcommittees, and then we will give you kind of those that are interested. And then you guys can also do your own additional recruitment by all means. So we'll just kind of go down. I want to share, they're in the agenda packet, but we've got deployment subcommittee, first responder, manager subcommittee, marketing subcommittee, survey development, training, and youth outreach. So we'll go up to the first one. So for our deployment subcommittee, was there anyone already interested in continuing or leading this group? This group is responsible for evaluating the survey zones, kind of the hot spots and the cold spots, where to go, where not to go,
You
where to
said
send
deployment?
people.
No,
Deployment,
I like to serve on there, not read.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, Dominique, I'm up for doing it unless somebody else wants to do it.
I think it's you.
Yeah, Damon, that's.
It's you, girlfriend.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I nominate Dama.
All right, Ellen has nominated Dama,
I second.
and Era seconded. All right, all in favor? Aye, all right, any opposed? All right, Dama, you are the fearless champion again of the deployment subcommittee. There is a lot of interest in that subcommittee, and you also know the team. If you have not taken the interest form, or you are new to our committee, especially new to the group, please let us know or fill out that subcommittee request, so we can plug you into the right committee. First responder manager or subcommittee. Did we have any law enforcement represented online? Copeland or the, Wilson? Yes.
Dominique, I couldn't hear you. What did you ask?
Law enforcement was online. Okay, Ortiz was here in person, so was Copeland last year. Neither of them, or last month, sorry, neither of them completed the.
No,
subcommittee.
we just got another.
Okay. My concern with this last month was that I want someone who is a first responder, managing and leading a group of first responders. So I don't know if we're gonna be able to honestly continue with this subcommittee. Does anyone kind of work adjacent to law enforcement or have any recommendations or feedback?
So we obviously do with PATH. So I'm happy to forward whatever you would like over to the sergeant and see what he says.
So this part of the agenda kind of outlines it. Honestly, I'm open to kind of looking at this two different ways. Minimally, where you're having someone who is sharing that information. Hancock did do that for us this past year, where he was sending it out to the chiefs meeting. He was leading kind of the recruitment, and he was also the host for their training that we did. But there's also the potential of growing it to say for law enforcement to come together pre-season and kind of say how else can we be doing this? Where else can we be going, and kind of championing and supporting, bringing on maybe EMS. We talked about that in the past, as well as law enforcement.
There's been a couple folks too that attended the quarterly info meetings that are from like even some of the beach community law enforcement and fire too. I'm just curious if some of those maybe want to be at least on the committee for reaching out to some of those smaller groups too. I think there's one from like Treasure Island, like one of them, and then there's a guy from.
Yeah, Treasure Island only participates. Isn't that from DFL online? Because they do the outreach with Gulfport.
Because that has changed to Melinda with DFL, if she did not get that invite, because before it was Michelle. And so they have a new person, Melinda, who probably should be added to the list.
Yeah, I was gonna connect with her this week anyways, because I just met her last week, so I can do that. So just hearing kind of the options in the room, Helen, if you're able to connect with Hancock to see if there's any interest from St. Pete PD, I will connect with Sheriff and Pinellas Park, because they did participate last month. As well as reach out to DFL. I can do that before the next meeting to see if there's any interest. But if not, my recommendation would be to pull the subcommittee. We'll still need someone to message and kind of help us pull the officers together, but
Okay.
yeah. Move that down for me. Okay. And then, so we'll move on from that one, we'll leave it open for now. Marketing manager and subcommittee, this one, honestly, and I should have said that with the deployment subcommittee. Those meet probably, I would say probably 5 to 10 times within like the November, December time range, and do some work between meetings to really identify those hotspots. So they do have different level of commitment. The marketing manager or subcommittee, this has been one person and this has been 3 to 5 people before, but they typically meet maybe 2-3 times. But then someone is doing the actual like graphic editing, which I mean can just be Canva or one of those programs. There's also materials already in the HLA's possession that could be updated or kind of diversifying those outreach efforts for managing and marketing. Does anyone have any interests of that personally, or professionally or want to empower maybe their teenage high school, college student? Okay. All right. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and move on to the survey development subcommittee. The survey, as you all know, is long. This committee has met will meet probably 2 to 3 times. And they also typically will be beta testers for the actual survey app. If we can utilize the app, which I assume we will. And so they'll kind of end up being beta testers on the app. The committee has questions that are required by HUD, the survey, excuse me, has questions required by HUD. And then it also has questions required by the COC board. And then there's a lot of other questions. So there's potentially some work to edit and update and correct. What's kind of historically happened is questions keep getting added, but not necessarily taken off. So could be work to be done in that committee.
I'd like to help with that one, Dominique. This is Kathleen.
I typically share it on there, but I was wondering if Tony wants to share.
Who does?
I can. I think I can
You
share.
can't.
He can't as HLA, no, their support. We can ask him to participate though. So I have been this subcommittee lead in the past and I am willing to be it again. And then I work closely with our BTS who does the app anyways, so.
We have a few chat.
Oh, we have
updates,
chats.
Yeah, Chair Beckman already said, Helen says April White would like to be on the survey development and Colette Clark would like to be on the survey.
Thank
development
you.
subcommittee.
Thank you, Colette and April, Ellen. And Kathleen, thank you, we already said that. So we have some participants for the survey development. I will recommend myself to chair that. I'm fine with that. If anybody. I'll throw my name in the hat.
I will nominate Dominique for chair. Survey Development Committee.
Okay, Arrow.
Wait, I'll second that.
You two are always my movers on these agendas. I appreciate it. Okay. And then training subcommittee. So this one, honestly, this one, the past 2-3 years has fallen on the HLA, which the HLA is really meant to support us as a committee. In the past, I will tell you, I have done this subcommittee and it is a big lift to be the head trainer. But I will tell you flat out, I'm willing to be a trainer. I've done it for many years, so, but I do not necessarily want to lead it.
I will be a trainer, but
Yeah.
nah. Cause I know we have to redo all the things and the videos and the classes, so. I don't know that I'm equipped for that, but I will certainly train after I'm trained.
And the,
I've done that a lot.
kind of the trainer commitment is typically 2 trainings early January, where there's a train the trainer early January. And then, typically 2 trainings mid-January, hybrid, could be virtual or in person, depending on, we kind of try to do north, mid, south in person to give people opportunity and then, 10-15 hybrids. So our online virtuals. So it ends up being about 2 trainings per trainer. You also have a co-trainer is how we've historically done it.
Last year too, just thinking about how many things you've taken on this role already. Hurricane season, you are a major part in the coordination for the homeless shelters. Yeah, and that's right during the midst of the meeting for that, so. Shout out to anyone who is not already chairing a committee, if you can step up too to help alleviate that, because I know Dominique's got a lot that time of year too with hurricane season.
Look what Colette says.
Oh.
Hey, does that mean you wanna be the trainer for all the trainers here too?
Colette, that was a direct question, so sorry. The question is if you would be interested in leading.
Immediately.
Victoria may be small, but there are big shoes to fill.
That's
So,
very true.
no.
That was funny.
Okay.
I'll be a
My
trainer,
concern.
like I always trained VA in the last couple of
Yeah.
years, trained outside of VA. And I'd be willing to co-chair if someone would chair to start learning the ropes and maybe in the future. Coach.
Would that change Colette's response? I just
Yeah, Colette, would that change, having a co-chair with Blossom with the VA?
That would be the part. Silence.
Anticipation.
It's funny, she's like, "Oh, I could make my desk,
I wish, where Zoom chat, chat had like the.
dice.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll take that as the standing no. All right, well, we're not gonna be able to get a lot of work done if we don't have subcommittee chairs, people, I'll let you know.
Oh, hi. April will co-chair it with you. She just happens to be sitting in my office now. No, and you can't see her face, but she will co-chair the training committee and we will take her off the survey development subcommittee. And I'm going to, and since Shawnice is out today, I'm going to put her on the survey development subcommittee. Yay.
Thank you, April.
I don't know how well this is going to go over, but April is smiling. And there you go.
And again, we don't have to keep it the same either for the training. So like this past year, we started doing the virtual. There was a pre-recorded for those who were who were returning. So there's a bit opportunity to do something like that. It could also be slide decks. Like, I don't know if we could potentially get a license to the training that HLA uses and create like a slideshow, or like there's a lot of different media ways to do that. A lot of things, that we could think through.
And I think last time too, I mean, we took the PowerPoint from the year before, sent it out to the
Yes.
committee, and everyone put their comments back and sent it back or whatever, so it wasn't like all on the chair.
Yeah, the biggest thing is really honestly that recording, but honestly, the PowerPoint has stayed the same. It just gets a facelift every year. My slides are still on it from 8-10 years ago. So yeah, it just gets a little facelift every year.
Who was the other person who said that they would co-chair? I didn't see who that was or hear who that was.
Awesome.
Blossom. Perfect. Thank you.
Blossom in April.
You need a
I'm
motion
feeling-
There's a need to be co-chair.
I'm here for it.
All right,
Training.
Sarah put a motion out.
A second. Oh.
There's a second.
I'll second.
And then I have youth outreach subcommittee. So this one was how they would, in the past, have a whole separate deployment. We actually had thought, we misspoke at a previous meeting, we thought the subcommittee had been dissolved, but it really just got reprioritized last year, just kind of outreach focus. So information blast, kind of who, making sure that deployment is aware of where they may be hanging out, where might be a hotspot for them, but also sharing the messaging with some of our youth advocacy partners and maybe justice and things like that. So April has historically been on that, but it seems like she's committed. Family Resources is here as well, and oh no, sorry, Ready for Life, and then Family Resources is typically online. So I don't know if Ready for Life is here, or is, I did it again, Family Resources is here online.
Is the heat team on here too, on the committee or?
The heat team has like sporadic participation, I would say. I don't know if there's anyone on from the heat team today. And they are listed as like a recommended agency for school boards.
Although I'm a guest and my application's pending, I would like to be on the subcommittee if my application's approved.
So Thomas is pending to be a COC member, which would then make him eligible to be a committee participant or.
And I have a lot of contacts at the schools through my years with the court. This is somewhat new to me, so it's like stepping out of my fishbowl, and so, you know, it'll take a little bit of time, but I do have a lot of contacts and a desire to be on that subcommittee.
Perfect. Yeah, would you desire to lead that subcommittee?
That's a great, if there was a co-lead, yes.
Okay, so there's a potential co-lead option there.
So can we make a motion contingent on the COC board membership approval?
Yeah, and a contingent on COC board membership and oh, sorry, COC membership, thank you, and then a co-chair as well. So we see if we can get a co-chair.
I'll
First.
nominate, you said Thomas is your name?
Yes,
For, the youth subcommittee, co-chair, if such another co-chair is nominated and upon acceptance of COC membership.
I like it.
you.
I certainly want to serve on it, it's just, commit,
Spread
I'm
thin.
commitment right now with what else we're trying to wrestle with ground.
And most of these committees meet like 2 or 3 times,
Yes.
maybe, right? For a half hour, an hour between now and the end. So it's not a weekly, it's like, get together when you need to, maybe shoot a few emails back and forth, but it's planned.
Yeah, this one doesn't, I think because it changed from the separate, event. And is more of an outreach, and then it really kind of just partners with all those other committees, the marketing, the deployment, and then it has 1 or 2 meetings.
Like, where would we,
Information's being
we have
shared.
to find the youth, like what marketing would appeal to that?
Yeah, we
True,
probably
like
are well
that's-
positioned for that as an agency, so, okay, I'll do it, you talk.
Look at that.
right.
Provided that he gets accepted and.
Contingent on.
Still like, oh.
Contingent.
I nominate Chad.
Just say, don't you worry. It's
As youth subcommittee co-chair contingent upon final approval of the other co-chair.
You got it?
A lot of addendums.
Yeah, write it down. All right,
Yeah, sorry, Megan.
Erin made a motion.
I got it.
I'll second.
Thank you, Scott. Seconded. All right. That wasn't too painless, however. Better.
Dang, how do you really feel?
Our surveys. That was painless. But I don't know. All right, I'm sorry, you guys. All right, and then, so, but the rest of you are here. Not everyone has, like, what, I'm just gonna probe a little bit here. So like, you're here, part of this committee. First time, I think, sorry.
He's one of my student interns.
Okay, I was like, all right. But, you obviously have an interest, so I really wanna encourage people to, if you continue participating in this, committee, but also these subcommittees are gonna need people, you heard people have stepped up for a lot of these, so what kind of subcommittee can you serve on, or potentially, share? Please, please let us know so that we can start meeting those and make those meetings intentional.
I haven't been very vocal, but I did submit the survey, so
Okay. So we have your interests.
I did something.
And so if you have been selected as, or appointed as a chair, we'll send you those interest surveys, so you kind of have your committees, we'll have our committees like fully formed by next month's meeting. And next month's meeting is prime hurricane season, but we will be here next month.
There are no hurricanes.
Storms.
We'll just keep saying it enough, I think.
Just claim it.
Hurricanes are.
Just like the birds, all right. The group discussion, anyone have any general information, questions, comments?
I have one.
Yes, please.
It seems like, and I'm not sure if we saw this like in last year's data or not, but with outreach, they're getting a lot of people calling for help, not just finding out on the streets. And I felt like during PIT, we had a lot of that, where like a lot of volunteers couldn't find anybody. But so I don't know if there's a way, I know we kind of talked about it, like some of the groups spending that Friday calling their clients, but also clients have limited minutes on their phone, and if it's, a longer survey and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's one topic maybe we can delve into a little bit more at the next meeting about maybe some strategies to reach out that we have active on the list for
To kind of like
my phone.
the diversified strategies for surveying. And I think part of that is information too, because the HLA and actually Ready for Life historically has called, and Directions for Living has called their clients on Fridays to ask where they were on that Wednesday night, Thursday survey.
Right.
And they, but it's kind of limited as to how many they can get through and how many can be accomplished, like how far they get. There's not like the participation, and then getting that interaction can be challenging sometimes. I don't know if you guys have more insight in kind of how that went this past year, or.
I knew it happened.
Yeah.
That's,
I think honestly, the feedback I've heard, and we probably hear from Suzanne next month, but was that it's actually very challenging because most of the people are anticipating a shelter placement, and then they're being asked to complete a survey about
That's why I'm wondering if maybe like a few days ahead, they could tell them that that day, is coming and that there's the gift card for completion, so they might be more apt.
Can we roll that into
To-
something that like marketing looks at and or focuses on, like? When you're talking about information, getting out and outreach, I guess, beforehand to say, hey, on Friday, when you get this call, it will not be for shelter placement. So it alleviates that sort of dash of hope, as it were. Cause I know there were a lot of hangups, cause they were like, what, I'm not doing this, which I get, honestly. But if we hit ahead of time with this is what our plan is there any opportunity, I don't know if this makes sense or if I'm out in left field, but is there an opportunity to add or ask for volunteers from, our volunteer pool to make some of those phone calls? Cause I know right now it's like staff from those individual agencies, but how many can one person do, right? Like realistically, is there some, or maybe we look at what that would look like if, volunteers could also make those phone calls kind of on behalf. I don't know if it would do a lot, or if, a predetermined rapport makes it easier or better for that staff, or if they're like, if they knew it was gonna be a survey and hey, Joe Schmo is gonna call you, it'll take about 20 minutes, XYZ, if that would go over well, or if we would spin our wheels and waste our time.
one of the issues we would encounter, and I would think Directions for Living as well, is that HIPAA and for Directions, and for us, it's PII. So we can't, without a level 2 background check.
So if it's
engage
anybody who
volunteers in our
has access to
database.
HMIS or has a licensure in HMIS, could they be?
That,
potential?
yes, that should work. You're our, yes. that's
Cause if I
compliance
was like, if I can
Right.
already access all of their records in HMIS, then
Right.
I'd be good to go, right?
So that might be a set of volunteers that do have that background. and
Yeah.
Mhm.
Work on that, like, let's say even. Like outreach, if they're out early in the morning first, or even if it's the next day, right? So outreach is out on the day of in the field, but then the next day, since they have that access.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, I guess figuring out who we wanna call, it'd be hard to get people gift cards too, I guess, that would be, forget how we're calling you on Friday and you'll get a gift card, we can't get that.
Oh, Kathleen has her hand up.
Kathleen, you had a hand up?
I do, thank you. I had two questions. Number one, Sherry and I have a number of presentations planned to a number of organizations to talk about the PIT report, and part of it will be encouraging people to volunteer for the PIT Volunteer Day. Who do you want us to direct people who might be interested in joining those efforts? Is it like Dominique, or is it Sherry, or what do you want? So that was the first question.
We
You guys-
have a volunteer, I need to look at it, I need to see any updates have been done to it, but a volunteer registration section on our website.
Okay,
I would-
so we'll just direct them to the website?
There is one, but
There
I
is
have.
There's one specifically for Pitt, but typically it gets like updated with dates and times in like
Yeah.
November-ish.
Uh-huh.
Or so. But I'm wondering if there is is there a general box for the HLA or volunteer, like
There's an
volunteer at
info at.
HLA, info at? Or the general, cause you can register for any volunteer opportunity through the website.
Yeah, there is a general
Okay,
We do have the date selected, but we don't have all the other necessary details yet.
right. And we can always encourage them to join the COC if they really want to help with any of the subcommittees and things like that. And then the other thing I had was, I'm not looking at the full agenda of the subcommittees, but is there one that talks about the incentives? Because we have, it's my understanding we have some challenges with the incentives coming up for 2026.
I was gonna make that an agenda item for next month, actually, but I
Okay,
think we,
okay.
I think it was mentioned at the last month meeting. So historically, we've done a 1-day unlimited bus pass. We were able to shift that this past year to a $5 gift card. However, it has been determined that that is not allowable to
Yep.
purchase cards. So we're having to look at alternatives. One thing that we kind of just brought up, I think it might have been before the meeting, is basically you need about $5,000 for incentives. So is there, maybe marketing comes up with an idea, like, you know, Chipotle does the 20% towards a nonprofit, or it would have a specific marketing through social media, or a for-profit business wants to take on that like that donation. Like, I'm not one to solicit donations, so that would be my thought, but Sherry, I don't know.
I was thinking sponsorships would be great.
Yeah.
And finding ways to make sure that people, the businesses that do engage, get the credit that they deserve for that, and we do social media and all of it. Also, I can say like Cold Night Shelter tends to attract a lot of donations, like smaller, they're not necessarily small, but some smaller and semi-big donations. I don't know if Pitt would have the same, would carry that, you know, like that good warm feeling, but if we can get, you know, drive that point, that'd be great too.
Yeah.
$5,000 seems doable.
You mean donations, do you mean toward buying gift cards, or it cannot be even like other, like the foundation, a private foundation gives funding, for example, it still can't be a gift card under their reg.
It could be a private, well, it depends on the foundation.
Okay.
But we've talked in the past about making sure the incentive is consistent. That way there's equity in that. Like, it's not like this person gets a hat and this person gets a pair of jeans and this person gets a bar of soap. Like that's not an incentive anyways. Those are basic human needs. But you know, this person gets a bike and this person gets, you know, a backpack. Those are two very different gifts. And also you can't be carrying around 10 bikes while trying to do surveys, right? So trying to find something that is equitable and easy to carry. So gift cards has just been the easiest.
And I'd add to that, we can't fund using federal or state dollars, any incentive period. It's just, and gift cards and food are the big no-nos, but we did reach out to HUD to just ensure that was the case, and we were told we needed to find other.
I know for the Safe Harbor for their annual cleanups that they do in the High Point area, Walmart's usually a big supporter for providing like a breakfast and like fresh socks, t-shirts, whatever. I'm wondering if they would potentially be a gift card donor for it.
We do mini grants, I think once a quarter, you know.
I'll do that. Yeah, see, that's the hard part, is getting them in on.
But you can apply to every single Walmart individually for those quarterly grants. I don't know
Hello.
if they do. Oh, yes, hello.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't find my hand to raise it. This is Danya. I guess for the Clearwater, we can ask if you have a script or something, we can ask a couple businesses to see if they're willing. So what are you looking for them to donate? Like money or just food or gift cards?
Money or gift cards.
All right, I guess we can ask a couple businesses. I can talk to our ED department and see if they have any businesses in mind that they have relationships with. If you have a script or something, you can email me so I can provide them the information. That'd be great.
Is this also something maybe, I know Kathleen's got great connections with faith-based organizations in the community, potentially maybe they could donate some funding toward those incentives too?
Yeah, I think, right. I think if we can have someone, do the form letter, kind of the basic outline of how we want to approach those people consistently, then, we could all reach out to our connections. But yeah, I'd be willing to do that for, you know, yeah, my faith-based. It's not as large as I want it to be right now, but it's a work in progress. Yeah. And again, I think as Sherry and I do these presentations, and we're going to have a call for, on this Friday's Board of Directors meeting, about we'd like to go out and make a presentation about our pit report and all the work and all that business. It's just the best time to ask for donations and engagement. Can you help us? Do you want to join the COC and all that? So, yeah, if we could get that, letter within the next week or two or whatever, and really brief, right? With just a link to donate, and maybe they just have to tag it specifically for um, pit work.
And then I just put in the chat, Chick-fil-A, and that's, yeah, again, that's not something I'm able to do, but that's exactly, like Chick-fil-A has those little meal cards that are good for like 3 months, and if you go to a bunch of different,
Mhm.
if we get the messaging the same and someone who kind of wants to solicit donation,
Mhm.
it's a good way to go about that.
We need about 500.
Or if
$5
anybody has a
gift card.
race connection, they do those canes coupons for like Tijuana Flats and stuff like that. Like, I feel like there's opportunities that already exist.
Yeah, the Phillies, the Blue Jays, Ruth Eckerd Hall. There are a number of Raymond James, whatever. Yeah, so I think somebody started to ask, but what's the total number of incentives, or what's a goal that we're looking for?
Um. I don't know,
Like,
do
how
you
many
want-
respondents did we have last year, I guess?
138,
But
right?
that was
But that was a
dedicated,
low,
so.
and we were 700 something.
It was around 1,140 total encounters, so somewhere around there, we're looking at about.
We estimated 1,500 at the last meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at $6,000.
1,500 would be 7,500. Okay, so 7,500 would be the goal.
We still have a lot.
Yeah.
And we have gift cards left over.
I do have some gift cards left. I have to do some inventory, actually. I have somebody bringing another sleeve of them from the last one, so once I have all of them to get, I'll give it some to you. Okay, yeah.
Just separate between pit and membership.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So, just in case those online, Tony, is gonna do an inventory of how many they have left over from last year. Cause we intentionally buy more than needed because of just the turnover between shifts, and they might be out in the community when a new team needs. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, that might be something to include in that brief letter. I mean, do you want to include what our goal is so that people will know how much they're chipping away at it, yeah, it's just a perspective. And I don't know if that works in marketing or if it's advisable not to do that. I don't know.
Goal is great, and then they say, but we've already had this much.
Yeah,
So there's some skill.
we're only looking for this many more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Perfect. Any other, conversation topics?
Well, and again, we'd have to figure out, how their name is gonna be recognized, right? And I'm sure you guys have that all figured out from prior years with donations, right? And nobody's to say the bus passes aren't valuable. As I was mentioning to Sherry, we had a call this morning, is that in my time in doing pit interviews, nobody's given a look or kind of scoffed at a bus pass. So if PSTA can help with that. So as long as you consider those, equitable, equal value of incentives,
Yeah, and I think there's an inventory of those on hand as well, that you guys maybe could inventory.
Yes.
Multiple sleeves of them. The thing with that is it's just become so much more, PSTA has become so much more accessible in the past few years. City of St. Pete, residents are able to get.
Yeah.
Pass, but sometimes it takes a minute to establish that.
Okay.
Get that.
One thing that I just want to bring up is that depending on the incentive itself, can actually cause people to do more duplicate surveys to get more incentives.
Sure,
We
that's
actually
true.
had, I think, almost double the amount of duplicate surveys this year as opposed to last year. Having a Winn-Dixie card, we did have, I think, one person completed 6 surveys by themselves. So that is something to consider, is that if you go for a really good incentive, it could encourage people to do multiple surveys, and then we end up with a lot less than we think that we get, after the day.
And there's always gonna be a few duplications. I think we
There
have-
are usually a few
Yeah,
duplications, but yeah,
20-something
last year is one we're talking.
Even for PSTA bus passes, we still have to find a different source of funding for it, right? They're not given for free.
For HUD, they say no incentive.
Right, but I think we had to pay PSTA in the past for them. It wasn't, they weren't like PSTA didn't give them.
No, we were buying them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
I think they were at a discount, but they were being bought.
And newbie question, I heard this last year, they went digital. Like
They
No,
still,
is it?
It was
They're
definitely.
reloadable cards and like the app, yeah.
yeah, we have
So-
you guys have the reloadable cards, you guys upgraded those, yeah.
Yes, we did.
The flamingo cards are the new ones.
The problem with the old ones that we took before, we would give them to them and the buses wouldn't take them. They had to have those reloadable flamingo cards, so we ended up having that great house.
But you then have to rebuy those cards, so should they be lost? Just SOL. But in these cases, these are one and dones anyway, it's not, repetitive, needing to reload them.
Yeah, you would have to get PSTA, but it was like, you had to pay for the card plus the daily.
Right.
And in the past couple of years, they were basically taking away the card price.
Okay.
That's how they did it, I think, the past couple of years. Okay. Any other general discussion? All right, thank you for bringing that up. April, I understand you're online now. You want to go ahead and make a recommendation for closing? For close the meeting?
Oh, closing and adjournment. April, it's you. Oh, speak up.
Meeting has been adjourned. I don't know.
Do you have any?
Ready to close the meeting? Anybody want a second?
A second.
I say a second. Thank you
All
guys.
right, well,
Thank you.
see everybody later.
Appreciate it. We'll be here next month.
Thank you all.